everyone. My name is Mama Hongosi, and this is Think Like the Wealthy podcast. Thank you for joining us. Today, we have Tarie Manyona, who is the author of What School Never Taught My Daughter. But she will tell you all about herself because she is very helpful in the space of finance. So, welcome, Tarie.
Thank you so much, Sis Mama How, and I'm so honored to be here.
Thank you for joining us. So just tell us basically about yourself. How did this person who gives such valuable advice when it comes to finance, where did that come from?
So, with me, I think my journey of spreading financial literacy awareness, it came from my own personal story and realizing that at school, the subject of money is never taught to anyone. So I was one person who was like very toxic with my money. I was handling my money very badly. Yeah. So in 2020, when COVID hit, that's when I realized that, many people who are like crying, stressed, because you'd see even in social media, everywhere you'd go, you see people like venting out, people are so stressed and everything. And I realized that moment that, the reason which is stressing people, it's not really about the money. But it's the fact that they don't know where their next meal is coming from. Because as people, we are used that when I earn money, I pay my bills, I use all the money, like it's from hand to mouth. And we don't really think about the future. So I realized that, I think we can really change this perspective if we really look at the way we handle our money and everything, that in as much as I have to pay the bills to live for today, but I also need to think about the future.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Yes. So for me, that's where the story and this thing of wanting to, let's change the relationship and the mindsets we have towards our money, and let's try to build a better relationship with money. So that's where the whole journey started from. And having that background in finance, I'm professional, I'm an accountant, but what I always say to tell people that, the accounting we learn at school, the accounting we do at work, it's completely different from our personal finances. That's why we never get it right with our personal finances, because it's a totally different world. So that's why I was like, in as much I thought as an accounting person, I'll be good with money, but I was one person would find myself borrowing from Mary, paying John and all that. And I realized that, we need to change the perspective and we need to start normalizing talking about money.
I think what blows my mind about your story is the fact that the drive was more about helping your brothers and sisters, not necessarily about you finding yourself in a hole. Unlike some of us, we had to dig ourselves out of the hole before we can, before we can learn that, okay, we need to do things different. So I'm very fascinated by that.
Yes.
Also, my next question is, as an expert, do you feel like you have learned everything you need to learn as far as managing money and, building wealth? I know you are also in the space of building wealth is concerned. Do you feel you have learned everything, or you're also still a student?
For me, I always like every day is for us to learn. So I can't say like I've learned everything, because there's so much things which are happening and there's so much things to learn. And also we need to look at the world, so it's also evolving. In as much I've been in the personal finances for the past 5 years or so, but there's so much things which are evolving. So I can't say I've learned everything. I'm a student of life and I'm welcome to learn every day, because there's so much lessons which life gives us to learn every day.
Yeah, look, I think for the listeners and at home, is the most powerful message is that no matter how much of an expert you are, because I also call myself a wealth coach, but every day I still learn.
Yes.
And I understand that it's to try and reverse the education of so many years up until this point. So we're trying to sort of reverse all of that.
Yes, more like we're unlearning.
Before we can learn. Oh my
I'm learning, then we have to relearn, yes.
Actually, I feel sorry for the people who have not even yet started, hey? But your focus is on kids more than the adults. So I want you to take me through, because we are the ones that are crying and complaining about debts and this and that. But your education is mostly focused on the children. Why kids instead of adults?
Because when I look at kids, and also when I look at my younger self, most like when I wrote this book, my first book, What's Going About my daughter, I was like, if in my teen years, if I had someone who would sit down with me, even if it was my parents or whatever, who sat down with me and told me to understand all the basics of money management, it would make things better. So with me, when I look at the kids, I see them as our future leaders. Oh, yeah. These are the future leaders. So for me, when I'm doing financial literacy for kids, it's more like, you know what, because I understand that financial literacy is an economic self-defense. Yes. With them understanding the basics of money, it will make a difference in our economy. So these are the future leaders. So that's why I'm much more passionate about teaching about kids, in as much as I teach also adults. But I feel kids are more teachable. They understood. But if you teach an 8-year-old, like my second book, it's Making Sense with Your Sense for 8 years and to 12 years. If you teach them about the concepts about saving, giving, investing and all that, and you tell them that when you go home, ask your parents to buy to make you jazz, they'll come back next time and say, Coach Tarie, I now have my jazz. And this day I've got this much money, and this day I've got this much money. Like they don't, in as much like they're still learning and growing. So they are more like teachable and are so excited to grasp the concepts and all that. So I think teaching financial literacy for kids, it's more of an economic self-defense. And I realized that if the moment they start learning about all these basics about money from a younger age, it will be easy for them to apply it the moment they get adult and start being in the world, understanding the real world, how the money works. So it will be like, I feel like it will make a difference in our economy. Yeah, look, I really would admire that adult who got the education from at that very early age. Yeah. And I like the fact that you say when you were young, you wish someone had taught you. And this is why I had enjoyed this book, because even if you wrote it for your daughter, I felt like I was also a daughter that needed this education. And this shows how deep the financial knowledge still goes. There's a lot that we still need to learn. I do not pass by a financial book without opening it and learning something out of it. So yeah, I find that very fascinating, actually. So tell us about what are other things that you do or you get yourself involved in, you and your organization. So yeah, as my organization's name, Let's Talk Finances with Tarie. So it's basically like, let's normalize talking about money. Like in our households, when we're having that dinner, instead of watching the soapies and all that, let's just get to like discuss like how are we handling our finances, how are things going. And I always try to encourage like, especially parents in families, because as parents sometimes we try to mask like we are doing so well, yet we are drowning in debt. And the moment when we are not really like honest with our children, like we don't come up like, you know what, we are so much in debt, our house is about to be repossessed and all that, our kids will be thinking, our parents, they have it all, they have the money. Then they come and make unnecessary demands. And you know what? That leads, it will lead to mental health. Because now you're so stressed, you can't sleep, you're trying to balance books which are not even balancing back. So I always advise, like, let's normalize talking about money. And if you see that the financial situation, it's like not working, be open with your kids and tell them, you know what? We are really in a debt mess, kind of, and we need to clear this off. So maybe for the next year or so, we're going to cut all the luxuries and only sustain with basics. And the one thing which you don't understand as parents or as adults is that our kids are very reasonable. Yes. The moment we are honest with them, they'll say, okay, they'll understand and say, well, okay, you know what? This month we are not going to get data or we are not going to get pocket money or whatever. And they'll understand and they won't come and make those unnecessary request from you because you've been honest to you. So I always want to encourage people like, okay, let's normalize talking about money. Hey, but with kids, they'd rather not eat than not have data. But no, so now you go on the table and you negotiate. Oh, yeah. So they will tell you, okay, it's fine. Let's remove maybe bacon from our breakfast and let's have the data. We have negotiated. So I'm interested to hear you saying that you sit around the table instead of watching TV, you discuss money. Like on the dinner table, let's bring that Ubuntu back. Like on the dinner table, let's sit as a family, not like we are all on gadgets, watching TV, trying to eat and all that. You spend that time off, from the discuss finances. And let's talk about money. But also with that one, also you also need to also see the age groups or the ages of your kids. If the kids obviously they're younger, you can't go into detail of telling them how much you're in and all that, because obviously they'll go and tell everyone at school. Yeah. But when you're now having like teenagers, kids who are at varsity, be open up because they're now adults. Yes. So you need to also realize that. So okay, back to the question. I think I digressed there. You were saying
Thanks to me as well.
Yeah. What we do is let's talk finances with Tarie. So basically we just try to spread awareness of financial literacy. As I call myself, I'm an advocate of guys, we need to have a relationship with our money. Yeah. There's no harm in having a good relationship with your money because many people we are just so toxic. So instead of we need to look at those toxic traits we have with our money and see how can we build a relationship. Every day you need to question yourself, how can I better have a relationship with my man? Ask yourself those questions, journal about that. So basically that's what we do. We spread awareness. So we do that. We go to schools, we talk to kids, because yeah, passion is more on kids. We also have online platforms where we also teach adults as well about money. Like we have a 6-month subscription basis for adults where we just every month we share different topics about money of how you can have a better relationship with your money. Then we also do one-on-one coaching sessions, and sometimes if you feel maybe you have an event and you just want to maybe talk about money because money is a taboo and it's a touchy subject. And if you feel like, okay, from now we want to face that elephant in the room, we also come to events and talk about money. So basically that's what we do, but we just spreading awareness of that we need to be friends with our money.
Do you get people who come back and say, oh, thank you, you've helped me, I didn't know anything? I mean, it's actually very fascinating that we can have all these degrees, engineering and whatnot, and still not get it right when it comes to money. Do you get those feedbacks?
Oh, we get them a lot. And each time when I always have those testimonies back, I always say this is the most heartwarming part of this journey of just realizing that, okay, what I'm doing is actually making sense and you're actually going somewhere. Like last year we had in our cohorts, this lady who came back to me and said, you know what, Tarie, I've got this house which has been on foundation level for the past 8 years. Because in my mind I thought I don't have money. But when I started your sessions with you guys, you told me okay, I think this you need to cut, this you need to cut. And all that money she saved, she managed to build her house. And by the end of last year, she was on roof level. Unbelievable. So you see when you get those kind of testimonies, you'll be like, there's something we are really onto here, and it gives me the passion of okay, let me learn every day and see how can we help others so that we can look at all the abundance we have and just shift our mindset and say, okay, there's so much we can do with what I'm actually having now.
And that's also still keeps blowing my mind is that there is so much that we have at our disposal, but we do not see because we don't see with the right eyes.
Sure.
Oh, wow. I think this discussion can go on for the whole day and night. But yeah, in conclusion, what is your last message and where can people find you?
Okay, so my last message to everyone who is listening, I can say that if you've been thinking that you want to start saving or investing, just start. Because tomorrow might never be there. So just start, even if you have a 10 rand, start saving that 10. Start saving that 10 rand. Because when it comes to your money mindset, right, it's your habit. You need to build that habit. So don't say you will start saving when you have more money. Because the moment when you have more money, there's other expenses they're going to come. So start saving with whatever you have. If it's 10 rand, 100 rand, start with that, build that habit, then you see. So I just want to say, just start and also have a good relationship with your money. It's very important to have a good relationship with your money because the moment when you also show money that you are honest with it, you are trustworthy with it, it will also multiply and love your bank accounts. So this is the last I can leave to everyone. And you can find me on all social media pages except for is it X now? Yeah, X now. X now is Let's Talk Finances with Tarie. And yeah.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. And I like the fact that you speak my language in terms of start. That is the message of this day. Whatever it is, 10 rand, start because you are training your mind. And I'm all about training mindset.
True.
So thank you guys for joining us. Please don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, we'll put the link at the bottom for where you can find Tarie. Thank you very much, Tarie.
Thank you so much.